It is October and the stock market is at or near an all-time high by the time you are watching this video, which means it is time to discuss what are the best stocks to invest in right now. And October, if you didn't know, is the best month of the year. Well, according to some. Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, I say that because it's the best month for me for a lot of personal reasons. My birthday is in October. My wife's birthday is also in October, which also makes it quite expensive for your boy. But in either case, historically, this is one of the worst months for the stock market. But hey, we are near an all-time high, if not at an all-time high by the time you're watching this video. So I have compiled what I think are the best stocks right now, and I'm going to run straight through them. The first one here is GE. Now, I've brought up GE a few times before. This started from a comment in this comment section months ago, and GE is still a good stock. Now, my theory or hypothesis as to why is because it is in the aerospace industry. I have been talking about the aerospace industry, and the next stock here is also going to be in the aerospace industry, aerospace / defense industry. It's been on my list, I guess 10 months now. We started talking about this in December-ish, and it is still going quite well. So first is GE. GE is up 78%. I repeat that, 78% in the last 6 months, up 58% in the last year. Next, also in that category is Honeywell, HWM. GE, the stock symbol is GE. Honeywell, again, is HWM, is up 68% in the last 6 months, up 85% over the last year. Copy and paste the same arguments for GE. You can copy and paste the same ones for Honeywell. All the same stuff still applies here. The way that I'm doing this, I'll be skipping around different industries also. If the stock was still good from a few months ago, I like to bring it back up to tell you it's still good. Some stocks that were good a few months ago aren't now. Okay, so some you will hear before, some that you may not have. And we got some new entries on the list as well. BlackRock is one of those. BlackRock is up 31% in the last 6 months and up about 23% over the last year. Now, I think BlackRock is on the, let's say, entry level. Now, let me be clear, 31% is very, very good. However, I think BlackRock is still relatively early in its, let's say, entry into a list like this. For example, going back to Honeywell, we've been talking about Honeywell for a while. We have not been talking about a company like BlackRock. However, I have been talking about asset managers and companies in the financial space. We've been talking about a ton of companies in the financial space here and there. And while BlackRock hasn't had the most smooth path up that I like in terms of momentum, it's been slowly catching up, and I think it has recently hit its stride in terms of gains. So keep an eye on that. I kind of circled that one, put an asterisk next to it, because I think it could get a whole lot better in the future than where it is now, even though a 31% gain is still very, very good. It just ain't, 70%. Next here is Arista Networks, ANET, ANET is the stock symbol there. BLK was for BlackRock. Now, ANET, I would say, is, at this point, it's a classic here on this channel. Up 113% in the last 6 months, up 53% over last year. Tech company, we've talked about it several times. Again, it's an old school company for us, right? If you are a subscriber of this channel, this is your chance to do so, because you have likely, if you haven't, you would have made a lot of money on Arista Networks, because we have mentioned this one for well over a year at this point in time. You can learn a whole lot by subscribing. Go ahead and do that. Next is Take-Two Interactive. I mentioned it several months ago, then we stopped mentioning it, and now we are back to it. It doesn't mean that it wasn't great during that time, but it is back at the top of the radar here. TTWO is the stock symbol there. That is because it is up 23% in the last 6 months, up 70% in the last year. For those that don't know, yes, it is a tech company. It's also the publisher behind Grand Theft Auto, whatever number it is. I don't know when it comes out. Don't ask me. I don't know. Okay, but it is a major deal, and people are waiting on that game to come out. Next here is Quanta Services. Now, for whatever reason, I can dig deeper into this. The stock symbol is PWR, as in power. So PWR is the stock symbol. Now, they are a power company or an energy company. Y'all know, if you are a subscriber of this channel, you know that I love me some energy companies around this time of the year. We start breaking out the pea coats, even though it's 80 degrees today, but you know where I'm going here, right? As things start to get cooler, as things start to cool off, and I don't like my energy bills getting higher, but as we start turning on the fireplace and all that kind of stuff, you see what we mean here. But they do electric, oil, gas, things of that nature. You know how I feel about NRG and others, but up 70% in the last 6 months, up 40% over the last year. So keep an eye out on that one, as well as other energy companies. We will bring up one that is not NRG here near the end as well, but that is a new entry on this list that we have not brought up. I don't think I've ever brought up that one on the channel. Next here is KLA Corporation. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure one of y'all had brought this one up in the comment section. I couldn't find it in our Q&A video. I did a whole Q&A video here a while back. Make sure you check that one out. But I tried to find this one because I'm pretty sure somebody asked a question about this, but this one does appear to be pretty good. Up 98% over the last 6 months at the time that we are doing this video, and up 45% over the last year. They are in the semiconductor space, which, as long as we are talking about technology and creating technology as well as AI, semiconductors are likely to do quite well. I'm not going to say that everybody's piggybacking off NVIDIA, but sure. Though it is important to note that not every semiconductor is the same. You can ask Intel that too, but KLAC is the stock symbol there, and they're doing quite well, obviously from a momentum perspective. But if you dig a bit deeper into how they're operating, you can look into their financials, and you will see some interesting things there too. But take a look at that one. I think it's definitely off the beaten path, not one that I see too many people talking about, but as we move later into the year and I start to see what I want to switch out, I am moving that one higher on my personal list. So that's one I've got higher. So keep an eye on that one for yourself. See if it fits in your portfolio. And then we've got one that I have not talked about for a very long time, and that is Ulta Beauty, ULTA. And I feel like I haven't had this one since 2020, 2021. Now, Ulta is up 55% in the last 6 months and up 46% over the last year. They have come back. They have had some great years and had some down years. At one point, to me, they were seen as a value stock. There are some circles of investors that see Ulta as a defensive stock, and it's a tier under the true defensive stocks in that, you've got food and groceries, right? You have those things that we absolutely need in case there is a recession, but you are always going to need food, groceries, things like that. And then after that, there is a category of goods, services, and things that people continuously buy regardless of what's going on. Now, in the past, some people call these sin stocks. I wouldn't call this one of those. And then things that people just continuously buy just to make themselves feel better. Makeup tends to be one of those. Going to the movies tends to be one of those. And then, stuff like cigarettes and sometimes alcohol tends to be one of those. Now, that's not necessarily, hard data in truth. Ulta may do that. Alcohol sales have been falling off a cliff, and we'll see, where we are with, cigarettes and all kind of stuff, and whether or not you want to invest in anything like that. However, what I can tell you is you can't find a whole bunch of stocks that are better than Ulta, and you can't find a whole bunch of stocks that are in that category, because that is the big thing here. We got, just in this list alone, you got industrial stocks, you got financial stocks, and then you got consumer stocks, all within one list, all within different spaces, gained, all within one list, all with gains from 30% all the way to 113%. That is wild. You can find a whole bunch of all semiconductors, all making crazy, crazy gains, all penny stocks or something cheap, right? We're talking legitimate companies here with legitimate gains. That is the power of understanding the stock market and understanding someone who is, got experience and done this before, and again, why you want to subscribe. However, as good as these stocks are, it's not everything that you want to have in your portfolio. I have been saying this loud. You might want to consider looking internationally as well. If you want to know what international stocks and ETFs that you want to consider for your portfolio, you want to check out this video right here.